What does a football, a cooler, and a lightsaber all have in common? And what on earth do they have to do with leadership strategy? More than you might think. Listen, if you want to improve productivity, trust, satisfaction, creativity, and retention while decreasing stress, burnout, and turnover, this episode is for you. Let's get into it. According to a recent Gallup report, only about 31% of US employees are engaged at work. For perspective, that figure was 36% in 2020. So not only is it low to begin with, but it's also currently in just rapid decline. The same report found that Generation Z and younger millennial employees were 13 points less likely in 2025 than in 2020 to strongly agree with this statement: my supervisor or someone at work seems to care about me as a person. Ouch. LinkedIn did a massive survey revealing that 50% of professionals would choose a company's culture over higher pay. Do you see where all this is going? Leaders tend to focus on results and growth and effectiveness, and they tend to have a really hard time going about that. The strategies that they use often burn everyone out. They might be able to manage to get results, but it's at the cost of everyone's health and well-being, including the leader. Not to mention, it's just miserable, right? But I'm here to tell you that you need to focus on something else, something that actually makes getting results easy and enjoyable. It's a strategy that I rarely hear leaders talk about, and yet it's so obvious and so powerful. The strategy I'm talking about is fun. As in, fun is the strategy. Now, before you click off thinking, great, Zach, I'm supposed to have fun, amazing strategy. Thanks a lot, didn't know that. Hang on, think again. Because the research says that we need to pay attention, okay? Statistics show that leaders are dropping the ball here, and it's killing us. So hang tight with me. This is really important for us to research. Let's start by breaking down a few objections to this fun strategy. First, maybe you're someone who doesn't buy this, okay? And I get that. You think work should be work. You can have fun after work. That's just, life. Maybe you have this really strong separation between work life and personal life, and you don't want or need fun to be a part of your work life. You have a live for the weekend mentality. And look, I understand that. I really do. And if you want to live that way, have at it. But I think you're missing out on something that could be really important. One survey found that 83% of employees believe having fun at work is important. So even if you don't value fun, you need to understand that the vast majority of everyone else does. So you're in the minority if you feel that way. So I think you need to wake up a little and just realize that you may need to put a little attention on this fun strategy because it's what people value. And because you may find that it's an uphill battle if you don't. Now, here's a second objection that some might raise. You might think, well, Zach, I do have fun at work. We do have a fun work environment. Are you sure about that? Because the statistics would suggest otherwise. For instance, the study we just looked at on employee engagement that dropped from 36% to 31% in just 5 years. Okay, that means not even, 1 in 3 people say they're having a good time at work right now. That's significant. Not to mention that 5% decline, that's 8 million people in just 5 years. That's dramatic. That's a massive shift that we should be paying attention to. People are increasingly not enjoying their work anymore. And here's another important factor to consider. The numbers get more intense when you skew younger. A study by the consulting firm Future Workplace found that 91% of millennials and 82% of Gen Z employees prefer to work in a fun and engaging work environment, which was way higher statistically than the generations before them. So not only is fun in decline, but we also have these generations entering the workforce that seemingly value it much more than the previous generations. As leaders, we got to pay attention to this. We got to take some ownership over this. Where did all the fun go? We can try to blame it on technology. We could try to blame it on COVID or politics or whatever. But things have always been happening throughout history, right? So maybe that's kind of like a cop-out. How are we going to respond? Because the research speaks for itself. Now, before we get too crazy, let's talk about the third objection that you might raise. You might be saying, okay, well, what's the big deal? Okay, people may want fun, but why should I, as a leader, care? They get paid for their work, right? And honestly, I get this one. You can easily get into this, I pay you to do work, not to have fun mentality. But let's talk about why we should care about this. It all comes down to the research. For instance, Gallup research indicates that engaged employees are 17% more productive than their less engaged counterparts. The Hewitt Associates study found that organizations with high employee engagement have 1.5 times the average revenue growth compared to companies with lower engagement. A study by the University of Warwick found that happy employees are 12% more productive than their unhappy counterparts. On and on and on it goes. The research shows that adding fun to a work environment increases satisfaction, increases retention, increases productivity, increases creativity and innovation, increases trust and unity, increases recruitment. It also reduces stress, reduces burnout, reduces turnover. Do you get the picture? This is exactly the direction we'd like things to move, right? This is the target on the wall. And these are results that usually require zero resources. But here's the thing, and I know I've spent some time trying to convince you of why this is so important, but the truth is, most of you know that incorporating fun is important. Most of you probably do value fun. Most of you are already committed to prioritizing that in your leadership. You don't need convincing of any of that. The question that most of you are asking, I'm betting, is how? How do I incorporate fun? How do I create a fun culture? And that's the right question we should be asking. So let's explore it. You know, this episode makes me think of the TV show Severance. I don't know if you've seen it, but Severance is this dystopian sci-fi thriller about employees who undergo a surgical procedure to split their memories between work and personal lives. And the innies have no memory of the outside world, while the outies have no recollection of work. And so creating this, it just kind of creates this surreal corporate mystery that critiques extreme work-life balance. It's a fascinating show. The parts that always made me cringe were when corporate kept trying to create these various initiatives to improve employee satisfaction. They try to bring fun into the workplace, but they did it in just the most sterile and disingenuous way imaginable. And the employees immediately call BS on it. And we can too, right? Because we know when something feels gimmicky. And that's not what we're shooting for. In fact, that has the opposite effect we're looking for. We're not after some fun initiative that people know. It's like, okay, fun and then back to work. You know, what we need is the real deal. We need a culture that genuinely has fun, because when people have genuine fun, they feel connected and they feel cared for. That's just how relationships work. The people you are closest to are likely the ones that you have the most fun with, right? You can tell the quality of a leader by looking at the quality of the relationships within the team they lead. The stronger the relationships, the stronger the team, the stronger the leadership. I just recently rewatched the movie Remember the Titans. And if you haven't seen it, it's a sports drama based on the true story of a newly integrated high school football team in Virginia in 1971. Coach Boone, played by Denzel Washington, has to work with the former head coach to overcome racism, not just on the team, but in the community as well. And the story follows how Coach Boone led the T.C. Williams High Titans to an undefeated season. But more importantly, he led a team to overcome the evils of racism. It's an amazing story. And there's an important leadership lesson that we should all take away from Coach Boone. And it's the opposite of what Severance depicts. You see, Coach Boone's job was to coach a winning football team. But he knew that in order to lead his team to victory on the field, he would have to first lead them to victory off the field. In other words, he had to make brothers before he could make football players. And that's exactly what he did. He fought for the relationships. And throughout the story, the players go from quite literally hating each other to being as close as family. It's incredibly moving. And it's a leadership masterclass. One of my favorite quotes from the movie, Remember the Titans, was when Julia said, "Attitude reflects leadership." And this brings us to our next section where we really break this down, where we break down 3 ways that you can embody fun. Here's the how, okay? First, it starts with you. You need to have fun. If you're not having fun as a leader, I guarantee your team isn't either. Or at least they don't when you're around. And look, the leader should be having fun. Why would you create a culture that you're miserable in? If you're the leader, you can do something about that. Change the culture. Now, a lot of this is about modeling, but it's also just about giving your team permission to have fun. If they see you having fun, then they realize, oh, it's legal to have fun around here. For instance, I mentioned 3 random things at the top of this episode: a football, a cooler, a lightsaber. These are just 3 stupid examples of things that I've done with my team over the years. We'll throw the football if it's a nice day. After every big event we do, I'll pack a cooler with everyone's favorite beverage or snack. And for a season, we had all these lightsabers lying around, and we'd occasionally turn off the lights and turn on Duel of the Fates. You know what I'm talking about, if you know what I'm talking about. And we would just have at it. We'll go on trail walks. We'll play pranks on each other. The other day, I walked into the office, and all the women on our team were blasting Mariah Carey and belting their heart out. And I was like, that's fun. We've had Nerf battles, life-size chess piece matches. We've laughed so hard that someone who shall remain nameless peed their pants. And so you get the idea. We have way too much fun. And you know what? I look forward to my work because I have fun. I love my team because we have fun. And that starts with me. I have to model that. I have to encourage that. And I need to participate in it. And, there are some days where I'm not in a fun mood, if I'm being honest, but I still see how I need to come in and bring that energy, bring that mindset. And, there's other leaders who act as though fun is immature and that they shouldn't be participating in it. They're like above that, right? Let the team have fun, but I'm not going to. And don't buy that. Like, fun is not immaturity, first of all. Fun is about connection. I've got 4 kids, right? And when do you think I feel most connected to my kids? And when do they feel most connected to me? It's when we're playing, AKA we're having fun. Fun brings connection. It strengthens relational unity. And as the leader, that starts with you. You need to have fun, all right? But we're not done. Here's the second thing. You need to hire fun people. Now, this is obvious, right? But I see people screw this up all the time. If you want a fun culture, why aren't you hiring fun people? There's just some people who are fun, and then there's some people who are Eeyores. They just walk around and suck the life out of the room, right? If you're an Eeyore, then I'm sorry, but why would I want to be on a team with you? Hire fun people. For instance, there's this one woman on our team who is so much fun. She does silly things. She laughs at all the jokes. She has crazy ideas, and she just loves having fun. And she can single-handedly raise the collective fun of our team. There's another guy on our team who has acquired the nickname The Gat for how much fun he brings. And I'm not going to tell you what that stands for, but he brings a lot of fun. And I'll never forget, one of our team members not too long ago was remarking how our team embraces the saying, tell jokes so good that even HR wants to hear them. And I'm thinking, good. Like, this is the kind of team I want to be on. So do you have fun people on your team? I hope you do. And if not, you need them, okay? Let's go to the third thing. Practically everything can be done in a fun way. And this is where I want to push you to have just a mindset shift. First, I want you to think of a few of your favorite tasks at work right now. Now, think of a few of your least favorite tasks at work. Feel free to pause the video, write them down, because I actually want you to put some thought into this, because this is an important exercise for you. You got it? Few of your favorite tasks, few of your least favorite tasks. Now, I want you to look at that list, and I want you to answer the question, okay, what is the difference between your favorite tasks and your least favorite tasks? Like, put them side by side if you need to. And I think you already know the answer. The difference is fun. Have you ever wondered why something isn't fun? Have you ever thought about that? More importantly, have you ever wondered how you could make it more fun? Why wouldn't you, right? I mean, let's say there's a meeting everyone hates. What if you started bringing donuts for it? That's fun. Get one of those little Krispy Kreme hats, right? And show up with Krispy Kreme donuts. Or what if you have a really hard event that leaves everyone exhausted? Okay, you could just go home, right, exhausted. Or what if you packed a cooler with your team's favorite beverage of choice and you had a toast afterward? You celebrated. Oh, that's fun. Do you see how this works? Like my team is really good at what they do. I tell them all the time, wow, you guys are just like world class. They put their heart and soul in everything they do, and they do it with excellence. And they, operating at that level is exhausting and it's demanding, but they can do that sustainably. Why? Because they have fun doing it. If the only thing your team is looking forward to is leaving at 5 o'clock for the day, then I'm sorry, you're just missing the most powerful strategy in your leadership arsenal. You need to start having fun. So I'm curious, how would you rate things right now? On a scale of like North Carolina DMV to Disney World, where are you at with this? No matter where you are on the scale, I want to encourage you to take a step up. Plan one thing this week that's fun and just see how it goes. See how people respond. I think you're going to find that having fun is one of the best leadership strategies on the planet. I think you're going to find that everything improves. But many of you are facing a different problem. You'd like to do this. It sounds great, but you feel stuck. You feel trapped. If that's you, you might want to go listen to this episode that should pop up right here, where we talk about 3 hidden leadership traps that are holding you back. I'll also put it in the description if it doesn't pop up for you. I've fallen for these. I'm sure you have too. And this episode might be what you need even more than this one. If you find yourself in even one of these traps, having fun is going to feel pretty much impossible. So it's an important episode for you. I'll see you over there.